Okay, today we're going to continue with another video in a series on the Case IH planter and Pro 700 display operation. It's been exciting to watch the Case IH monitors evolve over the years. Each new display has had unique improvements over the previous, and one of the best improvements we've seen has been with the introduction of the planter setup wizard. It's made the Pro 700 one of the easiest to configure and navigate. So to begin, we're going to leave the run screen. We're going to hit the back button, and we're going to press the wizard icon here. We're going to press full setup. Next, the wizard's going to ask you a series of questions that you're going to have to answer yes or no to, depending on your setup and features that you'd like to utilize. So we're going to start by hitting the next button. And I guess I probably should have noted first, remember your help icon here. It's an easier go-to reference than pulling out your operator's manual when it comes to setting the wizard up. So if you get hung up on any screen, you just hit that button, and it makes it really easy. So first we're going to start with our number of row units. We'll hit next. We've got 16 entered in already. And the next question is, do you intend to use GPS in your operation? This would be for overlap or auto guidance. Even if you're using mapping, you'll select yes for this one. If you intend to use section control for the AFS or AccuRow clutch control, you would hit yes. If you're going to do the standard old-fashioned, just raise the planter when you get to the headland and have that control your planter turning on and off, then you would select no. But we've got row clutches on this one, so we're going to say yes. Do you intend to use prescriptions for product rate control? Once again, yes or no. Do you intend to use the container function to track product remaining in your seed hoppers or liquid tanks? You can say yes or no here. You can also refer to the other video we have out on container function for a more thorough explanation. The help menu here gives kind of a basic run through, but our video will show you some screenshots and how to utilize that. So I'm just going to say yes and next. Do you intend to do split planter mapping? This would be used, you'd say yes if you're going to perhaps have a different population planting on the right half of your planter and from the left. So or if you're going to do dual hybrids, maybe one hybrid on the right half, one on the left half, or perhaps you have a split row planter with 4 sections. You could do up to 4 prescriptions. So I'm just going to say yes and hit next. Do you intend to use factory supplied liquid fertilizer? We're not equipped with that on this planter, but yours may be, so we'll just hit next. We need to have an operator selected, so we've got a name in here. You can enter a new one or select from the list. We're going to have USA units for this example. We'll hit next. We're going to start by setting up our corn crop type. So I've got corn in here. You can select from the list whatever crops you're planning to plant. And you must have a grower, farm, and field entered here. And then as far as your GPS, if you do not have an OEM branded tractor, maybe you've got a John Deere or another tractor that, or even an older Case tractor that you installed a GPS antenna on the roof, you'd want to select custom in that case, and then you would have to measure your antenna offsets. But we're gonna leave this at KNA. This is a factory equipped setup. If you were installing a manual setup, you'd either use the RS-232A or B if you had the custom. So we're going to hit next. Magnum Roof software already has determined our forward offset for us. We'll hit next. It already knows the antenna is mounted on the center of the roof. Our height offset is still something we can edit, and that's going to be based on tire size, so it's still a good idea to get out and drop a tape down to the ground and measure to the bottom side of that receiver. So GPS receiver has detected signal. You are going to have signal to proceed through this wizard, so it's a good idea to perform this while you're outside. So I'll hit next. We're just starting off with WAS here, and I like to have my DGPS alarm on. That way, if I lose it, I know that I need to be looking at a possible solution. Hit next. Verify the number of rows in each section. I know I've got 8 on the left and 8 on the right. My row width. My bar distance. Now I've gone out and actually physically measured from the back axle of this tractor back to where the seed drops into the ground. You can read this help menu. Will give you kind of a step-by-step. They want you to go from the seed tubes to the corrected GPS location on the vehicle, which would be the rear axle on this tractor. If you had an articulated tractor, then it would be the front axle. So we'll hit next. Roll clutch control. Yes, we do have roll clutches, and they are electric. Alright, so now we're going to verify our options. This planter is equipped with bulk fill and markers, no granular chemical or liquid product. Nice thing about this wizard is it takes you step by step, so that by the time you're through it, you can't screw anything up. No bulk fill lights, downforce control. You would select yes if you have the in-cab adjustable downforce control. If the downforce on your planter happens to be the old springs, or perhaps an external adjustment outside of the cab with an air compressor outside of the cab with the toggle switch out on the planter itself, you would select no. This option is only for the planters equipped with the in-cab option, and this planter is equipped that way. We want to make sure that we have that set right. Now we're going to enter our work condition, and the software automatically generates a standardized work condition, and it's just this left-right split plant, or perhaps if you selected non-split plant in the earlier menu, it's just going to say planting. And so I put the C after the name here. I just went in ahead of time and I just added C so that I remember that this work condition is a corn work condition. So I'm going to hit next. I want to verify my seed cal value. That would be the number of holes or cells per disc in the corn disc. That's absolutely essential for obtaining the correct population. Bulk fill default rate. We're going to start with 3,500. Got that number from the recommended settings chart in the operator's manual. Vacuum rate for corn, we're starting with 18 inches. I think the software default is 20, but we're starting at 18. Once again, we've just followed the recommended settings in the operator's manual. Intentional overlap and planter swath offset. Intentional overlap would be if you were planting seed corn and maybe you had a 16-row planter, but because of the male rows, you wanted to overlap maybe one row and plant 15 rows. Maybe you're going to plant the male row at 50% or something like that. You would use your intentional overlap for that purpose. The planter swath offset is used in adjusting for planter draft. Maybe we want to dial in our guest row and make sure that's set on 30 inches for the auto guidance operation. So that's what that's for. Downforce control. Once again, we've got the in-cab downforce control, and this is just going to be our starting point. We have other videos on the distance, seat, and frame calibration. We're not actually going to go through that right now, so I'm just going to hit next. We're going to continue with our layer setup. The layer setup has to do with applying your hybrid number to the map so that it maps correctly. In our case, once again, we've got this set up so that we can plant one hybrid on the left half of the planter and one on the right half. And so, as you can see, here's a little picture representing our tank. So in this tank, we're going to feed this half of the planter with this hybrid number, and it is corn. So we've selected those appropriately. We're going to verify our default application rate. We've got this one at 32,000 seeds an acre. Our minimum and maximum. Once again, we've got another video on product setup, and so we've already talked about this. I'm assuming that you've seen that. Our package size, product density, and unit density have to do with whether or not you're going to use the container function. Once again, reference the container function video that we have. So we'll hit next. And next, I'm not going to go into any detail on the container function. We've got that in our other video, so I'm just going to hit past these. Here we're going to set up the right side. And we're not creating any additional seed varieties at this time, so I'm going to hit next. Our overlap control, I tend to set that up at 99% anymore. A lot of the planters we have out today have row clutches on every row and are controlled by every row, and so we'll set that up because we would rather have overplant condition than to have any gaps where weeds could grow. So I've just got that set up at 99. My boundary control, I've got that set up at 99 as well. I'd rather have an overlap condition. You may be a little bit different, but if I did want to set that down, as you can see by the icon here, you're going to be apt to have a little bit more underplant rather than overplant. So I'll hit next. My product delay is that's a calibration performed by your dealer. If you wanted to attempt it, I would definitely rely on your operator's manual and the help screens here. We will not go into depth right now. The standard of 0.7 is the default. Our start early and stop late distance is one of the most important things if you're using section shutoff. It is important to have your dealer come out and set your start early, stop late distance. When you leave the headland, you don't want to have any type of gap, or when you enter the headland, for that matter, you don't want to have any type of gap. We've had instances where a person forgot to perform this calibration, and the corn came up and they had some gaps. So anyway, that's just a brief overview of the wizard and the full setup. It's pretty simple. Once you have that done, you can rest assured that everything's set up right, and you can go to the field with confidence.